we're expecting 228,000 doses of AstraZeneca and 100,000 doses of Sinopharm by August 2021. Members of the press, to further prevent and mitigate the spread of COVID-19 in our country, His Excellency the President has directed the following. Number one, government is cognizant of the negative impact COVID-19 has added on the education sector. However, we have to put the lives of our learners, teachers, and other staff in our schools at the core of our decisions. To this effect, pre-primary and secondary schools shall be closed for 21 days, subject to review, inspection, and certification, and depending on how the pandemic will evolve. In the next 2 weeks, inspections will be conducted by Ministries of Health and General Education in conjunction with Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to inform decision making. I direct school authorities to use this opportunity to conduct preventive monitoring and maintenance activities. In case of boarding schools, authorities are urged to keep children in schools until guardians or parents send transport logistics for them. Number two, government is encouraged to note that since COVID-19 was confirmed in our country, there has been increased use of information communication technology in our colleges, universities, and other institutions. Riding on this, all colleges, universities, and tertiary learning institutions will only provide online sessions for the next 1 month, subject to review. Number three, places of worship will be restricted to conducting a maximum of 2 meetings in a week of 1 hour duration while observing all the 5 golden rules. Number four, bars, nightclubs, casinos, taverns will not operate from Monday to Thursday, but will only open from Friday to Sunday from 18 hours to 22 hours. Law enforcement agencies are hereby directed to ensure that this measure is enforced without fail. And if any of the issues that I've mentioned above, the preventive and monitoring activities, if any one of them fails to abide by those rules, the government will be forced to close those institutions or those public places. Number five, funerals will only be held with a maximum of 50 in attendance. Social gatherings such as weddings, kitchen parties, Chirangamuliro Matebeto, will only be allowed for a maximum of 50 participants subject to certification by authorized officers and will be supervised in line with Public Health Act Cap 295 and Statutory Instruments number 21, 22, and 62 of 2020. Masking up while in public places will be mandatory, and it's the responsibility of all Zambians and those in charge of public places to ensure that there is full adherence, as this is a common good. Members of the press, there will be amplification of awareness creation using various channels of communication countrywide, and therefore direct the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Services to provide leadership in this area. Eating places such as restaurants and others will operate on a takeaway basis. All conferences, workshops, general meetings are suspended until further notice. Public places such as markets, trading places, shops, shopping malls, bus stations, bus stops, among others, should be fumigated at least once per week and continue to observe the 5 golden rules. Managers in these public places should play an active role in ensuring adherence to public health measures, failure to which this will lead to closure of the premises. Number 12, public transporters should ensure adherence to social distancing and mandatory masking by all passengers, failure to which appropriate action will be taken. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, to ensure that all these measures are adhered to, I direct the relevant ministries and institutions to apply the existing laws in their enforcement. As I make these directives, I also urge you to refrain from harassing members of the public as you execute your duties. I expect that in a humane way you work with local structures, local institutional leadership at various levels to promote positive behavioral change. Fellow Zambians, His Excellency the President reiterates that COVID-19 does not choose and can infect or affect any one of us irrespective of our spiritual beliefs, political affiliation, tribe, color, and the socio-economic standing in society. Members of the press, government takes cognizance of this period in which we are in the election campaign arrangement, and that we have a cold weather, and that if we don't handle matters properly, this can worsen the COVID-19 situation. Therefore, these interventions that have been mentioned are not meant to punish anyone, but it is for us to invest in the future, as there will be no voters in August if we are not organized today and we behave recklessly. Therefore, time to act is now, and let us be each other's gatekeeper. Ladies and gentlemen, all these interventions I've announced come into effect tomorrow, 17th June 2021 at 06 hours. And I wish to reiterate and repeat that if any institution or individuals don't heed to the measures that have been put forward, then they will be closed. Members of the press, let us work together for Mother Zambia, and together we can win. I thank you, and God bless our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. At this stage, I'll allow the Secretary of Cabinet to leave us, as he's got other pressing national matters to attend. If you have points of clarifications to make, Dr. Malama is here, the PS from Minister of Health. Thank you very much for coming. And SC is just signing the statement. We'll distribute after he has left. So I'll invite Dr. Malama to take the seat in case we have some points of clarifications as the media. Dr. Malama. Yes, shall we go into that session? Do you have any questions, point of clarification? Yes, my lady there.
My question is based on the vaccination program. We are aware that Zambia is currently recording twice more cases as compared to the first and second wave. I would like to understand what the role of the vaccine is being played in terms of prevention, because we saw that before the vaccination started, we saw that the numbers reduced, but now since some section of our people have been vaccinated, the numbers are increasing. What is the logic in all that? Thank you so much.
Do you have another question? If not, I will allow Dr. Malama to attend to that question. Doc?
Thank you very much, PS. That's a very important question. As you are aware, the vaccination program, the AstraZeneca we are using at the moment, you need to get 2 doses. For Zambia, we said you get your dose 1 now and your second dose after 10 weeks. Evidence is there that when you get vaccinated, just from the first dose, you boost your immunity by about 90%. When you get your second dose, then you start moving towards 100%. So it does work. When you look at the people who are coming to our hospitals with severe disease and those who are dying, I would put it on record that close to 99.9% are those who are not vaccinated. But also it's important to note that as a country, we haven't vaccinated so many people compared to the eligible population. So this is a moving target. And also what the vaccine does is, 1, it prevents you from getting infected to some extent. Not everyone who is vaccinated cannot get COVID-19. There are some who still get the infection and develop a disease even if they were vaccinated. But what is critical is that the vaccine will prevent you from getting severe disease and dying from COVID-19. So for us, it's important that we continue mobilizing more vaccines so that as many Zambians as possible can be vaccinated. You know, for you as a country to say you've reached there where you can start talking of reducing the infections and severe disease, you need to vaccinate about 70% of the population. So for those who got the first dose of AstraZeneca, at individual level, it's doing them good. And when they get the second dose, their immunity will even be boosted. So there's still a lot of benefits to getting vaccinated for the Zambians. And we encourage all of you to look forward when we receive the vaccines for you to be vaccinated.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malama. Do we have any further questions, points of clarifications? I see no hands. It remains for me.
I think I can ask.
You want to have a second bite?
Yes. Doc, I would like to find out how much is government spending on each of the patients in terms of oxygen in the treatment of COVID-19. Yes.
The question since Our Lady was far away from the microphone, she's asking how much government is spending in treating patients in terms of oxygen supply. Dr. Malam.
Thank you very much. Good question. You know, this country has never faced the situation we are grappling with. We've already given the worst case scenario. Is a patient with COVID-19, with severe disease, they have pneumonia, and they need oxygen therapy. Today, the most precious drug we are giving to our patients is oxygen. Some of our patients, they require as much as 70 liters of oxygen per minute. Under normal circumstances without COVID, the average we give, you may go up to 12 liters, but the majority is 3 to 4 liters per minute. So when you have COVID, your oxygen consumption, particularly those with COVID-19 pneumonia, goes very high. To put it into context, one patient can finish the 50-liter cylinders of oxygen as many as 10 in a day. Now you can imagine. That is also including the drugs. The drugs we are using for treating COVID, particularly those with pneumonia and other presentations, are rare drugs, which are quite expensive also. So it's a cocktail. On average, you can put it can be as high as 100,000 kwacha per patient when you factor everything, direct and indirect cost. Some of the patients have to be in ICU for a month. So the cost differs, but on average, if you put it around that, Because now we are seeing that most of the patients are presenting late, complications have settled in, so they are tending to stay longer in our hospitals. And also in the third wave, the COVID-19 we are seeing tends to be more severe. And by the time our people are coming to the hospitals, to some extent, some damage has been caused. And some of those will not show today, but they will show in due course. When you see someone with a COVID-19 pneumonia, you look at the lungs on X-ray or a CT scan, it's very terrifying. And that's why we continue urging our people that prevention is the best. To go through COVID-19 as a disease by a person, it's so excruciating. And it's something people should frown upon. You know, when you, in the hospitals, patients will tell you that the oxygen you are giving me is not enough. In fact, they want to adjust themselves, and they know how much they need to be breathing better. So to answer your question, it's a very expensive undertaking, and it depends patient to patient, but you can go as high as 100,000 kwacha spent on a patient, let's say within 5 days. So now if they take a month or 12 days, you can multiply. And that's why we continue appealing to various stakeholders, cooperating partners, and others to supplement government efforts.
Thank you very much. It now remains for me to thank you, colleagues from the media, for turning up at short notice and for your patience. We started later than we planned. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A question to you.
Uh-huh.
To you.
Question to PS, my best.
Yes,
Well, what is the question?
you can ask.
I mean, too closed. Don't leave me out.